How's the mic working? Working? All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Zach. I'm a postdoctoral scholar currently at the University of California, Santa Cruz. In September, I'll be starting a postdoc position at the University of Chicago. I'm also a research fellow at the Alliance for Just Deliberation on Solar Geoengineering, or DSG. And I worked on this research with my dissertation advisor, Sakina Jinnah. Today, I'm going to present some insights from my dissertation, which focus on two cases of engagement in the solar geoengineering issue area, the public deliberative workshop surrounding the SPICE testbed, as well as the Degrees Initiative's research capacity building programs. And both cases are critically important, but for the sake of time, I'm going to focus on lessons from the SPICE project, of course, because we're here at the University of Cambridge, which was involved in that research. Tomorrow, I believe we're going to hear from Matt Watson and Hugh Hunt, who led that research. And talking about lessons from SPICE is very timely in the wake of the newly funded ARIA experiments, which I know we'll also be hearing a lot more about. I'll be presenting a small part of my dissertation research in 3 acts today. First, I'm going to briefly describe the puzzle that motivated my dissertation, give you a sense of why my research was surprising from the perspective of many governance scholars. In Act 2, I'm going to provide an overview of 3 models of what I call governance by engagement, which refers to the use of engagement to govern an issue such as climate intervention or Arctic repair research. And engagement can include different groups of people, and it can take many different forms, especially in different parts of the world. Generally, I use engagement to refer to structured activities where a group of people are invited to discuss, evaluate, research, or make decisions about an issue such as climate intervention or Arctic repair. And finally, in Act 3, I'm going to distill some lessons and recommendations from my research for the governance of Arctic repair, thinking specifically of near-term governance of research. Authoritative assessments of solar geoengineering routinely advance calls for engagement with public's rights holders and other interested groups. Now, many governance scholars and others often see engagement as little more than a public relations strategy to convince people to support a decision that has already been decided or to accept a technology that technical experts have already determined should be adopted. However, in the 2 cases of engagement that I study, I find that this is not the overriding motivation driving the engagement efforts. And the effects they produce extend well beyond what we would expect if engagement were no more than a narrow attempt to legitimate controversial solar geoengineering research. And centrally, my dissertation demonstrates that under certain conditions, engagement can have important governance effects, meaning it can steer research and behavior and decision making towards public goals. And under certain conditions, it can do so by empowering diverse and vulnerable actors to shape research and decision making in potentially transformative ways. And ultimately, this work is important because, as my dissertation shows, engagement plays a central role in efforts to govern climate intervention research, and yet it is a double-edged sword. It can both contribute to as well as undermine our ability to govern these emerging technologies in just and effective ways. And so it's imperative that we figure out how to deploy forms of engagement that enable and do not degrade just and effective governance. So in my dissertation identifies 3 models of governance by engagement that reflect different possible ways that engagement is used to govern. The first, perspectives elicitation model, uses engagement to elicit diverse forms of information, perspectives, values, and knowledge from groups of people to inform research or decision making, such as whether an outdoor experiment should proceed or not. And in so doing, the promise of this model is that it can make research or decision making more robust. Second, the capacity building model is generally a longer term process that uses engagement to build a group of people's capacities to accomplish various tasks, such as to research or evaluate solar geoengineering. Those capacities are then leveraged to empower those participants to contribute to key governance tasks, such as enabling informed and inclusive assessment and decision making. And finally, the legitimation model uses engagement narrowly to secure approval for predetermined directions of research or decision making. However, importantly, perfunctory forms of engagement can actually backfire and increase controversy. It's also possible that it does succeed in securing approval for research, but it does so without the opportunity to open up research or decision making to new voices and perspectives that could make both more robust. My dissertation drew on empirical research using interviews and document analysis from 2 cases of engagement to illustrate how engagement can govern solar geoengineering research. And the first case, illustrating the perspectives elicitation model, analyzes a series of public deliberative workshops used to inform the UK Research Council's decision to release funds for the outdoor portion of the SPICE project, which alongside indoor research included a test of a scaled down tethered balloon aerosol delivery system, which was ultimately canceled by the PI Matt Watson in 2012. The outdoor test was governed through an advisory stage gate process, which required the research team to fulfill 5 criteria inspired by the newly developed framework for responsible innovation, and public engagement was part of one criteria used to inform that decision making. And the second case illustrates the capacity building model. This case analyzes the activities of the Degrees Initiative, a UK-based NGO that engages Global South researchers in solar geoengineering research and discussion using outreach workshops as well as research programs. And Degrees describes itself as an NGO dedicated to putting the Global South at the center of the solar geoengineering conversation. My research finds promising indicators that the organization is already changing the environment in which solar geoengineering is evaluated. But for time, I'm going to focus on the first case surrounding SPICE. And in identifying lessons from the SPICE project for governing Arctic repair research in the near term, I distinguish between engagement and non-engagement related lessons, as in many ways, SPICE is not a story about engagement. And the controversy stemming from a patent issue, as well as opposition from environmental NGOs, feature prominently in our narratives about SPICE. First, an individual that served on the panel that decided to fund the SPICE project had previously filed a relevant patent with members of the research team. That's well known now. However, according to interview participants, although this individual did disclose the patent, they were encouraged by other panel members to continue to participate in funding decisions, as they were seen as having the most relevant expertise. A conflict of interest statement was also submitted to the research councils. However, it appears that no action was taken. This set the stage for controversy down the road, which significantly contributed to the decision to cancel the outdoor test. So it's an obvious lesson, but it's one worth underscoring. Conflict of interest policies must be widely understood and enforced from the outset. And second, there is a lack of coordination between the SPICE research team, the research councils, and the advisory stage gate panel on timelines and public announcements. The test was publicly announced along with a test date, to the surprise of members of the advisory stage gate panel, who urgently advised the research councils that more time was needed to conduct stakeholder engagement. And this, along with awareness of the patent, then led the research councils to postpone the test, contributing to a sense of controversy. And as related to engagement, it takes time to plan, facilitate, and analyze the results of engagement. And when the SPICE StageGate panel met to form a recommendation, at that time, the results from the workshops were preliminary. And as a result, the advisory StageGate panel were reluctant to draw firm conclusions. And it also created a sense of ambiguity over the results. In fact, some of those I spoke with had almost completely opposite interpretations of whether the workshop participants were ultimately supportive of the outdoor experiment moving ahead. So in addition to building in time to plan and facilitate engagement, there also needs to be time to fully analyze and build a common understanding of what the engagement results mean for research and decision making. And second, while engagement can be used to understand whether people support an experiment, there are many other relevant dimensions of how people think about an experiment or about Arctic repair or climate change more generally that can inform decision making. So alongside support, facilitators should investigate, for example, perceptions of governance, ethics, and justice, risks, impacts, and potential benefits, as well as preferences for communication and engagement. The SPICE public deliberative workshops did this really well, and as a result, the engagement ultimately opened up new lines of inquiry and research surrounding the need for governance, as well as the different forms that governance could take. And third, SPICE teaches us to expect controversy and contention even when an outdoor experiment has little risk of adverse physical impacts. And while engagement should not be used to manage protest, how engagement is used will likely matter for whether and how research moves forward. Meaningful engagement may enable responsible research to proceed, while perfunctory or a lack of engagement increases the risk of protest and cancellation. And to be clear, in my view, the space engagement was designed very carefully, and everyone I spoke with was very interested in understanding public views. And so the cancellation of the project in this case was not due to a lack of good engagement. However, the same can't be said for more recent cases of canceled outdoor experiments, at least not as definitively. And finally, the SPICE public deliberative workshops were a one-off event to inform a single point of decision making. However, experiments are often multi-year projects and include several points of decision making that may be of interest to interested parties. And so even if not required, research teams could create iterative or ongoing opportunities for engagement to gather new perspectives as research proceeds through various stages. And this may be particularly important for experiments that aim to scale up its interventions or impacts. And finally, I'd like to close with some overall lessons and recommendations that emerge from my research for the governance of Arctic repair. First, the narrow use of engagement as a legitimation practice should continue to be avoided. My research demonstrates that engagement is not just about legitimating controversial research, and there's so much more that engagement can offer us as we navigate the challenges of Arctic repair, specifically in terms of enabling a robust, inclusive, and responsible assessment of the risks, benefits, and impacts of potential options. So to that end, use engagement in line with the perspectives elicitation model to elicit diverse perspectives, values, and knowledge, including from vulnerable and impacted communities, and integrate this information into research or decision making to make both more robust. And use engagement in line with the capacity building model to empower Arctic and other vulnerable communities to play central roles in research, assessment, and discussion of Arctic repair, and to ultimately work towards a more level playing field in future international negotiations and decision making. The Degrees Initiative provides a really compelling model to inspire this work. And finally, my research emphasizes that many types of actors play different roles in engagement, and they'll need to be able to draw on different sets of capacities to effectively fulfill their role. So actors that initiate engagement, such as research funders, will need to fund and set appropriate goals for engagement. Facilitators need to design, implement, and analyze meaningful and locally relevant forms of engagement. Participants need to develop informed understandings of different Arctic repair options and contribute to research or decision making. And finally, users of engagement, such as decision makers and scientists, need to reflect on and integrate the knowledge or expertise that engagement can produce into their research or decision making. And finally, just to close, I want to say many thanks to the Center for Climate Repair, as well as the University of the Arctic for having me out today. And I'm very grateful to all of my research participants for their time and willingness to speak with me. Thanks to my funders as well. And thanks to all of you for listening, especially this close to lunch. And I'm looking forward to hearing more and talking with many of you over the next couple of days. Thank you.